Okay, well, maybe we're all fucked.
Probably.
We're all fucked. It is Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 29 of Bliss Point, a music curation and conversations podcast, serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. Check us out at bliss.house, bliss.haus. There'll be a playlist going up on that site that will coincide with this episode that we're recording now. Have all the tasty goodies that we'll talk about and some extras on there. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Billie Gatewood.
Well, hello.
And Paul Kolb.
Oh, hi there.
Hey. I know, we're recording this before Thanksgiving, but this will come out after Thanksgiving, so hopefully we'll be well rested and raring to go. Not a ton going on. I think most people are kind of winding down for Album of the Year. So my stuff this week is a little light. But this single is a lot of fun to talk about. And these are the best singles that we've heard in the last week. My single is so
no surprise.
Phoebe Bridgers put out a post on Instagram saying that if Joe Biden won, she would cover Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, and put it up. And it was like,
that was a deciding factor for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it was like a week after he had won, and I was like, maybe she was just fucking around. Like, I don't know if she actually is going to do it. And she actually fucking put it out on Bandcamp. It was only available for one day. It sold 28,000 copies on a pay-what-you-want model, so it's not sure like how much money she actually made, but it made more than enough money to actually chart on the Billboard charts, which is kind of incredible.
That's crazy.
But she actually, Maggie Rogers, famous Maggie Rogers, wanted to be on the song as well, so she's doing some nice harmonies and beautiful vocals as well. It's just fun. I mean, like, if you like Iris, it's definitely Iris. If you don't, it's Phoebe. So, you know, what more could you want?
Maybe I didn't listen to that much when it was big, because I didn't even recognize it. I recognize the name.
So you didn't even realize that it was the Goo Goo Dolls song.
Yeah.
I mean, that's maybe the best version of the future, really. Billie, you want to tell us about your single?
Yeah. So my single is actually a friend of a friend. You all know my friend Bryce. And this is one of his friends. His name is Kerbin. Which is short for Nathaniel Wesley Fenton House Kerbin.
Oh my God.
Hence the shortened abbreviation. But he put out a song called A Boy and a Man and a Satellite. It's a nice kind of like ambient folky track with really beautiful production and really cool like vocal layering and stuff like that. So I was very impressed, and it was very cool to check that out. I was really, really happy with that recommendation from Bryce. And
yeah, this is really nice.
Somebody from Virginia is cool too.
The soft mandolin is like really cool.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's just a very understated, nice, acoustic track. Kind of reminds me of that "Welcome Home" song by Radical Face. It's just a beautiful little ditty. It's nice.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
All right, shout-outs. It's albums that may have just missed the cut for Album of the Week, or maybe we just want to go out of our way to trash. Mine is dumb and great all at the same time. There's this band that my buddy Trevor got me into. They're named Rickshaw Billy's Burger Patrol.
Hold up. Well-known friend of the show, game scoring extraordinaire, teacher to the stars.
This is true, yes.
Beautiful musician in Texas.
Yeah, he's way more famous than I am, that's for sure. But he turned me on to these guys. They have a new album out called Burger Babes from Outer Space. And it is a very strange, I guess, garage rock / doom metal / kind of hardcore, like, mix of just it's great. It's got a couple duds. It was not as good as I was hoping it would be, and it's pretty static, but if you really like the like fuzzy, aggressive, high pitched kind of whiny vocals, and the production is great and kind of thin and weird, and the vocals are kind of cheesy. The drums sound awesome. And yeah, I totally understand why someone wouldn't enjoy this, but it's a fucking blast from start to finish.
Honestly, the over-the-top Aussie style vocals are the only thing that made me not pick this for album of the week.
Yeah, that's fair. They do, especially on, I forget what the slower song is called. It's like the track 2 or 3, Baby's New Day, I believe. It is, yeah, it really highlights that the singer is really there to just make sure that the band isn't completely instrumental. And yeah, like it's not the best vocals in the world, but I think they're fun, especially on the, more rip-roaring tracks. And like, I'm surprised he actually does some screaming vocals. I was not expecting screaming vocals. So yeah, he just wants to like hype, fuzzy music. Definitely check this out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into like Jack White or Queens of the Stone Age, I feel like
absolutely
enjoy it, but it's kind of exhausting. So, I mean, one thing that just got old was using the exact same guitar tone through the entire album.
Yes,
it was just like every song sounded the exact same to me.
Yeah, that's my main critique, is like that style's really cool, but it is literally the same tone.
Yeah,
it's like they went in and they recorded one song after another and then just stopped when they felt like cutting a song.
Because on Grease Beast, it sounded like it was more like a blues rock metal thing.
Yeah, right. So,
Billie, it's sludgy though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say Velcro-y.
Yes, Velcro. That okay. I was trying to think of a word to describe the fuzz that they use, and I couldn't. I just kept saying like weird thin buzzsaw, but Velcro makes way more sense.
Oh yeah, it's like sudden fuzz that are really zippery.
Yes. Billie, you want to tell us about your shout out?
Yeah, so Tiny Deaths released her EP If I'm Dreaming, which we talked about one of her singles a few weeks ago that I really enjoyed. So I was looking forward to this. And there's not much to expand on what I said about the single as far as genre being kind of like dream poppy with like some R&B vibes. And so we talked about The Jump, and there's another single that she put out called If I'm Dreaming, the title track, and they're both really good. But the rest of the album was a little slower than I anticipated. It's good. It's moody. I love her voice. I do like the production. I'm glad it was just 5 songs, because if it was more of that, it might have gotten a little boring and repetitive. So I thought it could have been a little stronger. But overall, it's a good release, and it's something I've actually turned to a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. So it's definitely worth checking out to see if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think your album of the week is like a better version of this. Like I don't think there's anything like ugly about this record. I think it's very nice, and like The Jump is pretty catchy. But yeah, you're right. Like I was just having trouble staying attentive throughout the whole thing. It just kind of those whispery vocals are just kind of get really indistinguishable, and it's if the production's not doing anything crazy, it's kind of hard to really fall in love with it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, albums of the week. It's the best albums we've heard all week. You should be easy locks for album of the year. Mine is if this year has been any indication of how long it has felt, this band Tricot, they put out a new album called 10. I was like over the moon with their last record, Black. I was a huge fan, and totally thought that it came out in 2019, but it did not. It actually came out early this year. So they've put out 2 full records this year, which is pretty cool, especially for a band that does not have like a ton of albums out and seems to really take their time between records. So I'm guessing this was a quarantine project like most everything else this year. And I think it's good. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's as good as Black, but if you are into math rock, this is definitely going to be your jam. Killer guitars, really solid production, catchy songwriting, drums are really, really good, very expressive, and the mixing on them I think is perfect. Really good harmonies. The vocals really stand out, especially in the math rock genre, which typically doesn't have vocals at all or doesn't have great vocals. So this is just a really solid math rock project from front to back. So definitely check it out if you're into any of those things.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I didn't check out their last one that you were talking about, so I'm not super familiar with them, but this was a fun record.
Yeah, it surprises me how well it's produced. Considering how small they are. But I think they have a much larger following in Japan than they do here. So
Fair.
That probably would lend itself to that.
Yeah, they had a ton of streams, I think.
Oh, did they? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't look. But
there's a ton of streams.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't actually know about it until I was watching a Needle Drop video where he just kind of runs down the things that he didn't have time to review, and this was in the list, and I was like, oh shit, like. It's cool that he's shouting them out. He likes them enough to give them the cosign, and also like I'm sure people are stoked that they have 2 albums out this year. So that's awesome.
He was shouting you out. He wanted you to take the torch and go with it.
Yeah.
Where do these folks get off naming tracks after Japanese logograms?
That is a good question. It's obviously
not good for promotion.
It's not for people like me. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what my favorite track is because I don't know how to pronounce it. I guess I could plug it into Google Translate, but I'm afraid that we'll end up with a like Ariana Grande shitty tattoo situation. And that just wouldn't be great. So definitely check out track 2. That is my favorite track.
So sad when incredibly rich people get bad tattoos.
Yeah, that they try to fix but end up making worse. It's really just great. Just mwah, chef's kiss. Billie, you want to tell us about Ela Minus?
Yeah, so Ela Minus put out I think her debut album actually called Acts of Rebellion. She is a Bogota-born, Brooklyn-based techno artist who actually started out as a drummer in like an emo punk band back in Colombia, and then attended Berkeley in Boston, where she like really got into like improvisational jazz and like techno, and fell in love with like synthesizers and early Daft Punk and Kraftwerk and stuff like that, and actually started building her own synthesizers.
Oh shit.
Which is just super wild. So she's just incredibly talented, and so everything you hear on this record is all analog equipment that she's gathered over the years. And it's just like really dark. To me, it just kind of reminds me of like a Sweaty Basement,
yes.
Which is a good thing.
Rest in peace, U-Haul. Rest in peace.
That's like honestly the first thing I thought of when I was listening to this. Was like, I hear this in U-Haul. Like that's just what it reminded me of. So yeah,
hearing from the U-Haul Corporation's lawyers.
So it's just it's super good. She has vocals throughout. Some of it's in English, some of it's in Spanish, but I really, really dig this album, and I'm excited to check her out live. Hopefully one day.
Maybe someday. Maybe she'll do. I don't know if you like follow Electric Daisy Carnival at all, but I saw that they did a live stream, and it seemed really neat. So maybe she'd put on. I mean, if she has all that equipment in her house, maybe she could figure out a live stream situation.
This is true. This is true.
Cool. But yeah, the production is super cool. I loved how like analog is. I didn't know. I was looking for the word to describe how the like drums and like the synths felt. And that makes so much sense that you say, she uses a lot of analog equipment, because it's that like Kraftwerk is definitely that kind of, very old school MIDI sounding drums without sounding like corny, like a lot of
right.
like underground EDM that I hear like from Pitchfork and from other, music sources nowadays. It has that like very old school drum feel, but I just don't feel like there's enough going on to make it compelling. And I think this is just a lot of fun. And it's, really enjoyable. Mr. Paul, want to tell us about your album of the week?
Yeah, so this is a pretty last-minute pick. Hachiku is something I'm not really too familiar with, but the new album is I'll Probably Be Asleep. I guess it's just like a indie pop rock kind of situation. Really whispery vocals that I was kind of poking fun at earlier, but the production is great. I really like the guitar sounds, and especially either slide guitar or there's some kind of Weizenborn lap steel situation going on. Used to great effect atmospherically.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check this out. I listened to the lead single off the record. I forget the name of it. But yeah, this is really, really different, especially for that. Like when I went in, I read something as said dream gaze pop or something like that, and went in expecting something that was entirely different from when it actually came out of the speakers. So it's really neat, and I think it's very different.
It sounds really rad if you're wearing big hipster glasses.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better when you take them off, I hear.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'll have to try that.
Yeah, you should give that a shot. If you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, and the ones we didn't, there will be a playlist up on the site containing all the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. That site is bliss.house, bliss.haus. Please, please, please check out that playlist. There's a lot of goodies on there that we were unable to talk about. I know Billie put some good tracks in there, and I cannot wait to add more singles to that playlist.
There's one I'm particularly curious to get your opinion on.
Which one's that?
Respire track, the metal track.
Okay.
So when you take a listen, let me know what you think.
I will definitely check that out.
There's a very weird string breakdown a minute in.
Okay.
They didn't have their guitar tech just replace it?
Color me interested. Check us out on all the places podcasts are listened to, like, subscribe, follow, etc. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I love each and every one of you. Please check out the website. That is bliss.house, bliss.haus. And as always, thanks for showing up, fellas.
Of course.
If there's still any live venues standing at the end of the year, I'll cover Iris.